Hello and welcome back to Kara in Boston. Sorry about that. I was having I don't know what was going on. I think maybe I'm allergic to my son. He walked in the door and just I started to cough. Anyway, if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Also, like and comment. I would love to hear your unemployment story if you also had to do a hearing because this is my first time and I'm not a lawyer, didn't know what to expect, and so it was quite interesting. So can't remember where I was exactly, but I think I was somewhere where my so we got a new person hired, and this person was literally not in the office very often. So I mean they were there, but not like every day. And I did have to face this person. So our desks were face to face. That will also be important later. So what happens is, we had this talk about like, rah rah, we're a team. Let's get going, and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, fine. So things are like chugging along, and I think I'm doing a great job at my job. Nobody has ever told me otherwise, and so we're just moving along, and things start to get a little bit tense. Like I get it, this woman is new; she doesn't know who we are, but my theory is when you're coming into a job with people who've been working there a year, as I had been, like you kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. And the other two people, my other two colleagues on my team, had been there longer than a year. So I was like, if we were brand new, I could see her having some issues, but but we really weren't, right? So it starts like with little things like, hey, we use Slack. I don't know if you're familiar with Slack. It's like a channel thing where you can message people individually or groups or the whole team or whatever. So it starts off with like little like, hey, can you let me know when you are available, because I don't want to bother you while you are off of work or after work hours or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, if in general I'm there like 9 to 5, or I would assume that that was my general work time. So if you're messaging me at 7 in the morning, that's probably not a good time to message me, but that's okay. I just won't answer you. That's kind of the way things work. If you email me on a Saturday, maybe I see it, but I don't have to respond. I can, but I'm not going to necessarily because that's not within my scope of work. But it's fine. Like I've never been as in my position, having gone back over 10 years, I have never been like, let me completely sign out. In fact, for this job in particular, we had unlimited PTO. And because I couldn't work from home, there were times where like I had to come in late for a doctor's appointment or things like that. And on my commute in, I would be checking my emails or checking the Slack channel. Or if I went on a vacation, I'm like, oh, I'm going out to a convention for the weekend. But Friday we have a lunch coming in, so I'm just gonna log in and check did the lunch come and things like that. That's the kind of employee that I am. I'm not like I am on vacation. I am not going to like you don't exist. Now, do I want to be expected to do that? Not really, but I do that. so so I thought things, I thought it was a little weird. I was like, okay, so I one day was on my way into the office. It was like 8:15 or 8:30, somewhere around there, and I said, okay, I'm available. And this woman took issue with that. She's like, oh, you're in the office early? And I'm like, well, no, I mean, I'm not in the office, but I'm available. Like if you needed something, could, I'm, here, I'm on my phone, I'm just on the train. It wasn't like I was busy. So I wasn't considering myself at work. I was just saying that I was available, like, because I thought that's what she was asking. Considering, again, that my other two colleagues work from home a significant amount of time. So it's not like when they were available, they were physically in the office. So she goes, well, I think this should just be reserved for when you're physically in the office. So I was like, okay. So like 10 minutes later, I said, I'm physically in the office. Here I am, ready, available, whatever. Did I see my other colleagues do this on a regular basis? No, I did not. ah, so they did, but it wasn't like every day they did. Oh, I forgot. I'm here. I'm available, or something like. But it wasn't like at 9:01. Everybody's like, I am at my desk, ready to go, available. Didn't really see that going on, and I didn't I'm going to lunch, and now I'm back from lunch because, again, I didn't really take a lunch. I usually just grab some food. Maybe it took me 5 or 6 minutes, go downstairs, grab cheese, make my grab my salad out of the fridge, whatever, and go back up. So I didn't ever really talk like I'm at lunch unless I left the building or something. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, okay, I'm headed out. And there were days where I would like I had to send in an email for my review. And then it was about 5:20 or so, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Hey, I'm done for the day. I'm out." And she's like, "Oh, at after 5?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's like 5:20. I like probably walked out of the door like 5 minutes ago, and just again, I'm not used to doing this clock in, clock out thing, so it wasn't like something that was readily on my mind. So there were days where I was like, oh yeah, okay, let me message her as I'm walking to the train. So maybe I just walked out the door. And I was like, yes. And I said I was, I want to get that email to you because, we have our review coming up. And she's like, oh, I got that email before 5 o'clock. Yes. Okay. Well, because I sent it at like 4:45 or something like that. I said, but then I usually walk around the upstairs, grab any plates, dishes, things like that, fill up the coffee, sugars, and before I go home for the day, because there are still people usually in the office after I leave. Again, people come in very early in the morning, and people would stay later than me. So I'm like, I would get those things done, go downstairs, start the dishwasher, look at the snacks, clean up whatever, and then I would head out. So I didn't, I was like, yes, but I also was there till 5 or like 5:15 or whatever time it was. But I didn't think it was like, I didn't understand where this was leading to down the line. So this became kind of a regular thing. Keep in mind, during this, if my colleagues did mention they were in or out or whatever, there was also the occasional, hey, I'm going to a doctor's appointment, I'll be back. Oh, the train is running late, things like that. And it was all, that was fine. Like everything was like from her side to them, it was all, oh, no worries, and not a problem. And but I would get okay, I'm I'm here, and her response would be, oh, I must have missed you when I was talking to so and so. And I was like, you must have. It's like, well, okay, let me explain. Our building was technically three stories. Our kitchen and everything was on the first floor, conference rooms on the second floor, and all of most of our office space was on the third floor. So when I would come in the morning, and stairs not being my favorite thing to deal with, and our first floor stairs were 2 floors because it just would go straight to the third floor. If you wanted to go to the second floor, you had to go to the back and go up the back stairs, or you could take the elevator in the back of the room. It was a very long room. So I would come in the morning, and I would go, I would unload the dishwasher, I would check the water and sodas, I would, straighten up the snacks, I would grab anything I needed for upstairs, things like that. So I didn't like walk in the room, go straight up to my desk, and then come down and do those things. I would just do it in the morning when I came in. So while I came in at like 8 o'clock, 8:30, 8:45, 9, whatever time it was that I was getting to the office, I would often do that first. So, I would respond like, well, I was downstairs doing this and this and this. So that's probably why you didn't see me. Like I didn't walk right up to my desk. So, but it was very like condescending, I guess, as a way to put it. I felt like I was being, I was being put under the microscope. And I don't know why. Like I didn't feel like anything had gone on at that point. I was very confused. And this just kind of went on and on and on. And there would be little, and we have some screenshots that was all brought up at the at the meeting. There was something that happened about putting a Zoom meeting onto one of our events. And I'm not an IT person. Well, I'm now, but I'm not an IT person. So when I was asked to do this, and it had happened once before, and the way it was explained to me is that because it's a distribution email, the distribution email doesn't have its own Slack you can only give it to like a person, I guess is the right way to put it. So the distribution email that distributes to the entire company on the calendar can't have a Slack. So she'd asked me to put this meeting on, and I said, I'm unable to do that. And then I did I have receipts, but I'm not going to get into it until the whole thing's over. So I said, what I can do is I can make a Zoom on my own account, copy and paste that link, and put it into the meeting for the all hands meeting is what they wanted. And I said, I said, if you need a better explanation, like if you need to know why, you can ask our IT person, because I didn't understand at the time, like the distribution list and why the Zoom wouldn't work. So she felt like that was very rude, and it didn't appreciate that I wasn't problem solving and all this stuff. And I was like, and that she didn't appreciate that I was directing her to go talk to the IT person instead of, and I was like, and then I answered her. I said, I wasn't trying to be rude. I said, I was telling you what I could do. I said, but I can't explain to you why what you want can't be done, because I'm not an IT person. So I wasn't at the time understanding why it wouldn't be able to create a Zoom link. So I said, if you need a better explanation, if like you could talk to the IT person, and that person could explain to you like the specifics as to why, the mechanics of why, but I couldn't do that. I mean, I suppose I could have gone to ask him at the time, and then I could have explained it to her. But at the time, I was being berated for not being able to do this and not being cooperative and I was so confused. I was starting to like stress out, to the point where like when she would ask me to do something, I would get physically like upset, because I was like, I can't tell her I can't do this, because if I tell her I can't do this, then she's gonna, it was terrible. So this went on for, like I said, she was there, I think, just over a month. And then it became apparent that they wanted to like change a lot of what I was doing in my job. Now they're saying it was part of my job description. Keep in mind, my job description says we'll perform a wide variety of admin duties. That's what it says. What does a wide variety of admin duties mean? Well, that could mean I'm walking your dog and picking up its shit, or I'm going to your dry cleaners and picking up your lawn. Like, that is so incredibly vague that to use that as I'm not doing my job because I wasn't performing a wide variety of admin duties. I was like, are you kidding me with that? Like, seriously? So anyway, so we have the first round, and then we have the second round. So during the second round, the second half of my unemployment hearing, they were bringing up stuff like, okay, I was only doing, according to her, 40% of my job. Keep in mind, this woman was there a month, and in that month, let's say 20 days, she was probably physically in the office. I generously 12. Let's just say 12, like not even half the time. Let's give her a couple extra days. So she wasn't even there to see me do anything. Then she claims that, well, actually, this other person who was the HR generalist did my review. And I was like, okay, she and I had a meeting, and she was like, I'm excited to learn about what you do because I don't know what an office manager does. And I was like, okay, great. You're going to be in charge of me. You have no idea what I do. So this is like interesting. So the fact that she was the one who allegedly decided that I wasn't doing 60% of my job for this entire year was like, the only thing I can think of is because she didn't know what 60% of my job was. There we go. So there was that was brought up, and I was completely humiliated with that information. Then we had the discussion about my review. So I had my job review done days before I put in my notice because I was just flabbergasted. They changed the setting of how they did reviews because they had a 1 through 5 system. It was still 1 through 5. They just didn't like to use the numbers 1 through 5. So instead they changed it to like exceeds expectations, meets expectations, and is shit, right? So out of the 5, not 5 scale, they gave me a 2. So after being an office manager for 10 years, this being my third office. The other two offices, I was laid off both jobs. So this wasn't a matter of like I left, I got fired, I was unhappy, like they were unhappy, like none of that was going on. It was just financial issues and COVID issues and things like that, right? So I was floored. So I'm like, they put me as underperforming. So I was not meeting expectations. I was a 2 out of 5. So basically a D. Let's just be honest. Let's just call it a spade a spade. They were saying it was a D. So I was like, okay, fine. So one, I'm only doing 40% of my job. Two, I am not only am I doing 40% of my job, but I'm doing it the 40% I am doing, apparently I'm doing so badly that I'm not even meeting the expectations. But you weren't planning on firing me? You're telling me that wasn't something that was even on the radar, was you were going to fire me? But wait, there's more. So I asked them, I said, okay, so I'm doing 40% of my job and I'm doing it shitty. Was there an improvement plan put into place? Because most jobs, if you have an employee who is not performing well for whatever reason, you put in an improvement plan. Like that's part of the deal. Before you're allowed to fire them, you're supposed to put in, an improvement plan. Corporate jobs, right? And they didn't do that. And I said, well, but wait a minute. I'm performing 40% of my job, and I'm doing that 40% like poorly over the last year, apparently, according to the people who never really saw what I did or worked with me directly. That's whatever. Um, and you're saying that now you didn't think that an improvement plan was even necessary. Excuse me? Wait a minute. So I wasn't going to be fired? You're telling me that you were perfectly, let's just keep it status quo? This woman is not doing well, and what she is doing well, she's not doing well. But we don't need her to improve? Oh, okay. So, but you weren't going to fire me. Sure. Okay. My theory was that this woman, like, then they ended up reflying my job, and this was on LinkedIn. So again, they're saying it's not true, but it is. I have people who still work there. I know that they reflew my position, changed the job description, and flew it for significantly less money, like thousands of dollars less than what I was making. So to me, it seemed like this woman just didn't like. I don't know if I'm older. Maybe they wanted somebody younger. More, she was much younger. The other two people on my team were in their 20s, and so it was like maybe she just thought this old woman. We don't need her. I don't know. Like I can make assumptions all day long. But whatever it was, her style and my style just didn't mix. So I thought at that point, I'm going to get fired. They're trying to change my job. I'm so stressed out. I can't deal with this anymore. So I went to put in, and after this, I figured, and I did. Here's another thing. I talked to this girl about my bonus. So we have an annual bonus, which is, of course, corporate loves to like throw bonuses around, but half the time, if you end up leaving a job, you don't get the bonus because it wasn't at the time the bonus was available. So whatever. So I thought, oh, at this point, if I have a 2, I'm not even going to qualify for my bonus. I kid you not. She said to me, and oh, I'm glad you didn't ask about that at the meeting because no, you wouldn't qualify for your bonus with a 2. So I was not going to be entitled to any of my bonus because I was underperforming. At the hearing, she lied, said we never talked about that. She never said that. And I was like, oh, okay, but you did. Never said that. Okay, fine. So, and then when they brought up, oh, and then the boss said that I wasn't working 40 hours a week. I was like, I wasn't working 40 hours. I was like, okay, well, can you like show me the clock in and clock out times for all the employees and show where I was deficient? Oh, that's because we didn't have any. Because we're fucking adults in a corporate setting and I was doing my job. Whatever. So I was like, I was so taken aback by that I actually didn't have a response. I didn't even have that's what I should have said was, can you show me the schedule that where I was not in on time and where I left early? Because there were times where there was a day I remember this, and this was before she was there. It was a Friday. Everybody left the office. It had to have been maybe 3 o'clock on a Friday. And not everybody, but a, a vast majority of people who were there left to go have drinks and food at the tavern, right? And I sat there alone. And then I finally said, "Can I could I go?" I messaged my boss, my other boss at the time, and I said, "Hey, it's Friday. I'm pretty much, I'm done. Everybody, a lot of people have left for the day. Could I leave at like 4:30?" Because this time I think it was just after 4, and I didn't hear from her. I didn't hear from her, and I thought, probably she's going to message me back and go, "That's fine. It's Friday. You're done with work. Go ahead and go." Right? Everybody is a vast majority of people are have left and gone over and having drinks and go. Didn't hear from her. Didn't hear from her. So finally, at 4:30, I said, she's probably going to message back and be like, "Oh, I didn't see it," because why would she? I don't think I guess she wasn't working that day. I don't know. And that I will go ahead and go. So I thought I waited till 4:30 and I was like, it's a half an hour. Okay, I'm just going to go and meet up with everybody. And I was literally sitting, there were people downstairs, but there was no, I don't think there was anybody upstairs. Maybe there was one or two people at the other side of the office. But as soon as I walked out the door, I get the message, "Oh, you should probably, if there are people in the office, you should just stay to be like a presence, in case anybody needs anything." And I'm like, okay. So I turned around, I went back upstairs, and I sat for another half an hour. Nobody talked to me, nobody needed me, nobody was up there. That's fine. It's my job just to be there. That's fine. Didn't do anything for that half an hour. There was nothing at this point. I was done with work for the day. I had done everything I could do. I mean, I guess I could have gone and, I don't know, wipe down people's desks. I don't know. I'm sure there's always something that can be done. I get it. But so I was perturbed. About that. I was like, wow, everybody, my whole team was definitely gone. The IT department was gone. Finance was gone. Everybody, imagine an office with 50 people, but it's a very long office. So maybe there's 4 desks wide, and then everybody is long. So 3/4 of the office from where I was at the end of the room all the way across was empty. If anybody was there, it was the people at the very, very back of that room. And then maybe there were some people downstairs. I don't know. So it's hard when you're in the office and you're alone. So I did want to bring up the fact of hey, can I do the newsletter and the Canva stuff and the emails and the Slack, the announcements, all that stuff. Can I set that up maybe from home? So I was going to talk about doing a work day from home or even half a day from home, would have been nice. And then that way I could have gotten some, throw in some laundry while I'm here, whatever. But apparently I sucked so bad. I didn't even deserve that. Anyway, I don't know what's going to happen. I have not heard back because of the weekend and the holiday. I kind of thought maybe Thursday, Friday, I would hear something. But if I don't win, I definitely will appeal again. And I do have some people who I work with who are willing to either write me statements or be witnesses. And now that I know what they're claiming about me not working my full time, and there was also the taking off days. We had unlimited PTO. And I had in my year taken off, I guess, 17 days, which is a little more 3 weeks and 2 days, right? However, the people in my team, I had access to their information. I knew how many days off everybody else took, right? Because of the access that I had. And she told me that I wanted to take a day off in, I don't remember when it was. It was some, I was going to take a day off for something. And her response was well, I'll go ahead and let you take this day off, but are you planning on taking any more? And then she claimed that I had taken off more days by far than anybody else on my team. I literally saw one of the girls, she had just gotten married and taken off a ton of time for her wedding and her honeymoon, which of course she should. And then our boss at the time gave her an extra day off because it was oh, don't come in and come right back to work. Take an extra day. And she was great. She had taken off more days than myself. And I think that our recruiter had taken off either the same amount of days, maybe one day more. Like, I don't know, but it certainly wasn't. I had taken off 17 days and everybody else had taken off 4, something like that. I was like, most jobs have like a 3-week vacation and then like 2 floating holidays and 3 sick days or 5 sick days. Well, so if you take even 2 weeks vacation, 5 sick days and 2 floating holidays, I was exactly on par with what would have been allowed. And that's not even considering that most places have like a 15-day off policy. But that's neither here nor there. I was just like, and of course, there's no receipts on any of this because we didn't keep track. Like, I mean, I don't have anything to show. Like, I couldn't take screenshots of like private information and be like, well, here's how many days they took off and here's how many days. That was irrelevant in why I deserve unemployment. But that's it. That's my story. Thank you if you've hung on this long. I apologize. It's probably the longest stream I've ever done, but I'm very, very upset. Thank goodness. It did take me a while, and I did have a contract position in between, which did not work out because they just didn't need anybody. They needed a receptionist, not an office manager. But I have an amazing job now. I mean, everybody who works in this office is amazing. I am learning so much. I'm now the office manager and EA. I'm doing HR. I'm doing IT. I am doing it all, and it's amazing. And I am learning so much. And it's a fabulous office, fabulous industry. I'm so incredibly happy and so incredibly grateful for this job that I have not been stressed there a day. I tell you that I feel 100% better. And while I'm upset because I really liked that job, I liked the people, I liked what I did there. I do miss a lot of what I did there with the waffle Wednesday or the build your own, Sundays or the things I did. Like, I really feel like I stepped up our culture. I brought in ping pong tables, do ping pong tournament. I brought in the golf guy and we did mini golf with ball shaped snacks and stuff. Like, I mean, I really stepped up their culture and did a lot of stuff for them, I feel like. And I just walked away feeling like that year was a waste of my time because I'm so angry about what happened at the end that it just made the entire year feel like, I mean, I could go on and on about all the events and all the, I mean, we had a Christmas party. We did an entire trip out to Castle Island. I did there's so much, I put so much heart and soul and creativity into being there that the fact that they're telling me I did 40% of my job and that I was underperforming was such a hard thing to listen to. But then I have to remember that this woman was there a month and most of that time she wasn't there and she certainly wasn't seeing who I was. And while this other person was there more, she really didn't see it either. And we didn't interact and she didn't know what I did. And frankly, she still got to work there. So yeah, she lied during the deposition, but what is she supposed to do? She's trying to keep her job. And I try not to blame her, even though I think it's rude to lie on her oath. But she's got to deal with that woman every day. And I tell you, that's probably worse for her than anything I can imagine as a punishment. So, they'll get what they deserve. All right, that is it. Thank you so much. I hope you had an amazing Memorial Day weekend. I just want to say, this goes out to if you have friends, family members, acquaintances who, gave their life to serve this country, then I appreciate them and I appreciate you. I found out that my biological father, which I have, if you've not heard that story, I did do half the story in here and I will finish it up. He was in the military. He was in the Army for, I believe, 4 years. So I send my thoughts out to, I'm his family, but I mean, I didn't know him. So to my sisters and my cousins and their kids and everybody, I send out a special Memorial Day wishes to them. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend. I hope you're out enjoying. I hope you have some great weather where you are and you're enjoying some wonderful weather. And Succession finale tonight. I'm very excited. I think I'm going to come on at some point and do a review of how I feel about that show. So stay tuned and thanks so much. And I will catch you next time. Bye-bye. This is Karen Boston. Don't forget, thumbs up, click, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Thanks. Bye.